Welcome to the Tesla Economist. Please hit the thumbs up and remember to subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.
So, when is Tesla going to South America and maybe some other markets? We definitely want to go to the world. The challenge we have right now, it's a high-class problem, but the orders we have are well in excess of our production. So sometimes people will say, why aren't you in all these other markets? And why don't you make all these other different versions of the product, like different cars? Like, where's the Tesla semi-truck and the Cybertruck and the Roadster and other things? But the challenge we have, it's a good challenge, is that our orders far exceed our production. So, which is a high-class problem. But we need to have our production get to the point where it exceeds our current orders, and then it makes sense to expand to additional markets and to have additional products. Because if we add complexity but we don't add volume and we don't add production volume, then we've not actually done anything more. Because the good is a function of how many vehicles we're able to make. So as we are able to ramp up production and satisfy demand in our existing markets, then we will expand to other markets, and we will also add additional products.
Honestly, I think this speech from Giga Berlin opening is highly underrated. I'm watching it again and still taking away new information. Orders we have are well in excess of our production. We need to have our production to get to the point where it exceeds our current orders, and then it makes sense to expand to additional markets and to have additional products. This is what I've been trying to say to you all, which some of you don't like to hear. There is no point in Tesla launching new vehicles yet until they can reach the demand of the existing. And said vehicles are also of very high value, as they are potentially robotaxis. If you are heavily invested in Tesla, then this is a good thing. If, however, you're a Cybertruck reservation holder and only holding about 10 shares, then it's probably bad news for you. My channel does target the former audience though. Since Battery Day, which was also a shareholder meeting by the way, when Elon and Drew laid down the roadmap for Tesla over the next decade, a lot has changed since. Now, Tesla, or any other company for that matter, they start with targets, aims and objectives, but in actual reality, they never know what will happen. Market research is conducted, forecasts are prepared, even econometric models, to help predict the future for their company and products as much as possible. Then as time goes on, a business discovers their true value, they realize what is popular and potentially pivot into a different direction. But I don't think even Elon predicted the popularity of the Tesla Model Y, and still growing in popularity again. As a result, Tesla are going to double down further on the Y, and this will be at the sacrifice of other models. And this popularity growth is even more since Elon told us how the Model Y would outsell the Toyota Corolla. I think Model Y demand will reach about 5 million units a year. Although I would say this will likely require Tesla having to offer a standard range model for all markets, and possibly getting down to the price of around the mid 40,000s, adjusted for inflation, and still making massive profit margins. I mean, what if there was suddenly a $45,000 Model Y with about 270 miles of range? How many of you would instantly put a deposit down? Yeah, you're not the only ones. And when you factor in the cost savings compared to an ICE, then Tesla are paying you to take them. It's true, I modeled it. It's hard for any ICE vehicle to beat Tesla on cost of ownership. Teslas are pretty much the lowest cost vehicle you can buy, well, perhaps except the Wuling Death Trap, but that can't legally be sold in most countries. And admittedly, in my model, I did take the $47,000 Model 3. But what if gas prices continue to be volatile? Are people going to want to risk it when we finally have an alternative solution? Not to mention the EV movement that was already snowballing beforehand. What happens when there is demand for 20 million electric vehicles a year? Well, no one else is going to be making any decent quantities. Even if Tesla are only making 5 million a year, what will the other 15 million buy? Alright, even if Model Y demand is only 5 million a year, then it's still going to take Tesla until around 2024 to reach that level of supply. But even by then, that still won't mean that Tesla's supply has met their demand yet. Why? If 5 million demand equals 5 million supply, then hasn't Tesla met demand? No, because there is 2 or 3 years of ever-growing backlog on top of that. The thing is, this is demand just for a great electric car. Well, sorry, not just an electric car, a smart car, computer on wheels, robot car, whatever you want to call it. But by the time they're ramped up enough to meet demand, well, it won't just be an electric car. There's a very good chance it could have also hit autonomy. Tesla then hits a new market, the autonomous vehicles, or self-driving cars. Not everyone may understand or care about electric as much as us, although they are starting to more now when they are filling up at the pump, but there are other consumers who simply can't ignore FSD, whether they are some way incapable of driving themselves or want the ability to catch up on work whilst driving, or simply relax and watch some Tesla Economist on YouTube. There is no doubt the autonomous driving will shake up the auto industry more than electric has. And not just the auto industry, potentially just about every industry. So what happens by about the time that Tesla have finally been able to meet demand for their electric vehicles? Well, they may be inundated with a new wave of demand for autonomous vehicles. Of course, it won't end there either, as I'm sure you can see where this is going. Of course, robotaxis. Robotaxis is the real business behind Tesla. The amount of profit that can be made there absolutely dwarfs everything else. If there's a chance that releasing a new model will somehow mean there are fewer robotaxis available, then it wouldn't make economic sense. If Tesla have available resources in addition to the robotaxi business, then they may be able to make new models on the side. I think the semi-truck would be the next installation. The economics of the semi-truck are highly fascinating. When a Model Y, or probably a Model 3, can handle just about the majority of all robotaxi requirements. Tesla is building robotaxis and has enough demand to sell them to people for years, until they actually can be turned into robotaxis. I know Elon has given us some fairly bogus timelines in the past on robotaxis, but this is exponential AI. It can't be predicted. But allowing until 2025, well, like I said, it's exponential. Along with the progress Tesla make with FSD and the technology in general, there's a good chance Tesla will hit autonomy by then. But Elon has talked about more car models in the past, and I think the only ones that have ever been mentioned are the semi-truck, Cybertruck, Roadster, a compact, and a van. Will Tesla go deeper into a wider array of models? A coupe, people mover, convertible, station wagon, or compact? Maybe a larger version of the Model Y? I just don't know. If robotaxis are having that big an impact, maybe leave the niche markets to the other EV makers and move on to a bigger mission. Now, don't get me wrong, I want a cyber coupe more than any product in the world, but am I willing to be a selfish enough consumer to want that over moving millions out of poverty? No. But perhaps the talent is mutually exclusive, in that the talent who can set up a new car in production won't affect the growth of the energy business, for example. It's about opportunity cost, you see. Tesla has unlimited resources when it comes to dollars, but dollars aren't always enough, as legacy autos will find out in the next few years. Anyway, Cybertruck may even be a necessary part of the robotaxi fleet. Perhaps it's a requirement to meet more autonomous applications. Same with the van. But I'm not too sure about a coupe. What about the compact though? I know Elon has said he'd make it, but it obviously took a huge backseat since Q4 earnings, when Elon broke millions of people's hearts quickly informing them that they will no longer be getting a $25,000 Tesla anytime soon. I would say the vast majority of people who say they need a compact Tesla will be fine using robotaxis. They don't need to park them. The streets aren't that bad. I mean, when I was in Rome, they all had E-Class Mercedes taxis. Even in Nice, they had a massive Audi Q7 for taxis. Model Y is still a lot smaller than both of those. But are we automatically just thinking that as soon as Tesla has sorted out the Model Y production to meet demand, then the next task is new models? What if the new model isn't a car, and instead said resources are spent on Tesla's humanoid robot, aka Optimus Subprime? What if these robots can replace human labour on the production line, except they could do various tasks at 10 times the speed? What if it ends up being that human labour elements on the production line are the biggest bottleneck, just because a human wrist isn't able to rotate 360 degrees at 100 RPM, or something along those lines? The speed that the production line could potentially reach would be phenomenal. It would dwindle all fixed costs per vehicle, and if it's all powered by solar, then the cost of the vehicles are mainly going to come down to the cost of getting the raw materials, aside from other third-party components, like chips and tyres. Oh, but then the cost of the car would be so low that Tesla could reduce the price again if they're still selling to the public and haven't just decided to go full robotaxi, a theory many people have. Again, you just need to look at those robotaxi financials to understand what I mean, and perhaps I should do an update on that. But if the costs are getting that low, then Tesla can sell their cars for less and simply pick up more demand. If everyone is buying subscription-based FSD, then over the lifetime of the car, there's about 5 times more profit there than selling the car in the first place. A lot of people like to say that the Model 3 will be the $25,000 Tesla, and to be honest, I bet it would take Tesla about 5 years to get the cost of the compact down to parity of the cost of the Model 3, so why bother making a compact? Although $25,000 might be a bit low, who knows, we could see a Model 3 in the low 30s even. So what should you take away from these points? As a shareholder, as long as we can make enough cars, then the stock is going to the moon, and Tesla are amazing at making cars, and already have more capacity for making cars than they need. Why? because they don't have enough batteries, of course. So my advice would be to still keep an eye on Tesla's level of in-house battery production. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.